refuse you to insult Michael. He's a friend of mine. I love him, and I don't like people making...
For more than 5 decades, the names Michael Jackson and Diana Ross have been connected in ways that have fascinated music fans around the world. Some people believe their relationship was simply a close friendship. Others think it was a deep emotional bond that shaped both of their lives. Over the years, many stories, rumors, and unforgettable moments have added to the mystery. Some of those stories have been confirmed, while others remain only claims that have never been fully proven. That mystery is one reason people are still talking about them today. Now, as Diana Ross continues to reflect on her remarkable life and career in her 80s, fans are once again looking back at her connection with the King of Pop. Was she his mentor? His closest friend? His greatest inspiration? Or was their relationship something much more personal that only they truly understood? While no one except Michael and Diana could ever know every detail, the history they shared is real, powerful, and emotional. It began long before Michael became the biggest entertainer in the world. It started when he was just a young boy with incredible talent and impossible dreams. At that time, Diana Ross was already one of the biggest stars in America. She had reached the top with the Supremes and had become a symbol of success for black artists during a time when the music industry offered very few opportunities. She represented confidence, elegance, and achievement. To a young Michael Jackson, she wasn't just another celebrity. She was someone who had already achieved everything he hoped to become. Looking back today, it is easy to understand why Michael admired her so deeply. Whether people believe every rumor surrounding them or not, one thing is certain. Diana Ross played an important role in Michael Jackson's early life, and that influence stayed with him for decades. Their story is not only about fame. It is about inspiration, trust, admiration, and a connection that continued long after their first meeting. To understand why Diana Ross became so important to Michael Jackson, we have to travel back to the late 1960s. At that time, the Jackson 5 were a group of incredibly talented brothers from Gary, Indiana, trying to build a future through music. Led by their father, Joseph Jackson, the brothers practiced for hours every single day. Michael, although only a child, quickly stood out because of his powerful voice, natural rhythm, and confidence on stage. When the group caught the attention of Motown Records, everything changed almost overnight. Motown was one of the most successful record companies in America, and Diana Ross was already its brightest star. As part of Motown's marketing plan, Diana was introduced as the person who presented the Jackson 5 to the world. While music historians explain that several people helped discover the group before they joined Motown, Diana became the public face of their arrival. This decision connected her name with Michael's from the very beginning of his career. More importantly, their relationship grew beyond what cameras could capture. During that period, Michael spent time around Diana, learning how a true superstar carried herself both on and off the stage. Several biographies and family accounts describe Diana as someone who treated the young performers with kindness and encouragement. Michael, who lived under enormous pressure because of constant rehearsals, performances, and his father's strict discipline, found comfort in being around someone who understood the entertainment world but also knew how to make people feel welcome. Some reports even say that Michael spent time living at Diana's home for a period while adjusting to his new career, although the details vary depending on the source. What is clear is that Diana became more than just another famous singer in Michael's life. She became someone he respected deeply, someone whose advice mattered, and someone whose success gave him hope that his own dreams could become reality. For a boy who had entered adulthood before even reaching his teenage years, that kind of guidance was incredibly valuable. As the years passed, Michael Jackson grew from a gifted child performer into one of the most exciting young artists in the music industry, but his admiration for Diana Ross never seemed to disappear. Friends, family members, and people who worked with Michael often describe him as someone who formed deep emotional connections with the people who inspired him. Diana was one of those rare individuals. Michael openly praised her talent in interviews and often spoke about how much he had learned by watching her perform. He admired the way she controlled a stage, connected with audiences, and handled the enormous pressure that came with worldwide fame. These lessons became part of Michael's own journey as he worked to create his unique style. During the late 1970s, their professional relationship became even stronger when they starred together in The Wiz, a modern musical version of The Wizard of Oz. Diana played Dorothy, while Michael took on the role of the Scarecrow. Working together allowed them to spend months rehearsing, filming, and sharing ideas. Many people involved with the production noticed the respect they had for one another. Around this time, Michael was also beginning one of the most important chapters of his career. Shortly after The Wiz, he started working with producer Quincy Jones, leading to the release of Off the Wall and later Thriller, albums that would completely change the history of popular music. Even as Michael's fame exploded across the globe, his connection with Diana Ross remained part of his story. Fans and journalists often wondered if their relationship had become romantic, while tabloids published countless headlines that mixed facts with speculation. Over the years, these stories grew larger, making it difficult to separate truth from rumor. What remains beyond debate, however, is that Michael never stopped speaking about Diana Ross with warmth, gratitude, and admiration. Whether she was a mentor, a trusted friend, or simply one of the most important people in his life, she helped shape the young artist who would later become known as the King of Pop. That foundation would influence many moments in his career and continue to fuel one of the most talked about relationships in music history. By the end of the 1970s, Michael Jackson was no longer seen as only the lead singer of the Jackson 5. He was becoming an artist with his own identity, his own vision, and a level of talent that the music world had rarely witnessed before. After the success of The Wiz, Michael's career moved forward at an incredible speed. Working with legendary producer Quincy Jones, he released Off the Wall in 1979, proving that he could stand on his own as a solo superstar. Even with his growing fame, people who knew Michael often noticed that he continued to speak about Diana Ross with genuine affection and respect. He admired not only her voice but also her confidence, elegance, and ability to remain calm under the pressure of international fame. Over time, magazines and entertainment reporters began creating stories about the two stars. Some claimed Michael had developed romantic feelings for Diana as he grew older. Others believed he simply loved her as someone who had protected and encouraged him during one of the most difficult periods of his childhood. Michael himself occasionally made comments that fueled even more speculation. In different interviews over the years, he praised Diana's beauty, kindness, and influence on his life. Because of these statements, many fans started wondering if there was a hidden love story behind the headlines. However, it is important to remember that admiration does not always mean romance. Many stories published by tabloids during that time were based on unnamed sources or rumors rather than confirmed facts. Still, those stories became part of popular culture and added another layer to the mystery surrounding Michael and Diana. Whether people believe those reports or not, one thing was clear: Diana Ross remained one of the few people Michael consistently spoke about with deep appreciation throughout his life, and their connection continued to attract public attention wherever they appeared together. One moment that is still discussed today happened during the 1984 American Music Awards. Michael Jackson had reached a level of success that few entertainers had ever experienced. Thriller had become a worldwide phenomenon, breaking records and changing the music industry forever. During the ceremony, Diana Ross greeted Michael warmly on stage, and cameras captured a brief kiss between them. The audience immediately reacted with excitement, and newspapers around the world printed photographs from the event. For some fans, it looked like proof that there was something romantic between them. Others saw it as nothing more than two close friends celebrating one of the greatest moments in music history. The truth is that neither Michael nor Diana ever publicly confirmed that they had been engaged or planned to marry. Despite this, rumors continued to spread for years. Some books and magazine articles claimed they had shared a secret romance, while others completely rejected those stories. This difference between confirmed facts and public speculation is one reason their relationship remains such an interesting topic even today. Michael's admiration for Diana was never a secret, but admiration can be interpreted in many different ways. As his career reached even greater heights with songs like Billie Jean, Beat It, and Thriller, Michael also faced growing loneliness. Fame brought wealth and worldwide recognition, but it also made it difficult for him to trust people. Many biographers have written that Michael often searched for genuine friendships with people who knew him before he became the biggest star on earth. Diana Ross was one of those rare individuals. She had known him since childhood, long before sold-out stadiums, world tours, and record-breaking albums changed every part of his life. That history gave their friendship a unique meaning that outsiders could only guess about, and it explains why their bond continued to fascinate fans decade after decade. As the years went on, Michael Jackson's life became increasingly complicated. His achievements were extraordinary, but so were the challenges he faced. Constant media attention, endless tours, business pressures, and personal controversies surrounded him almost every year. During this period, many fans began looking closely at Michael's songs, searching for hidden messages about his personal life. One of the biggest debates centered on the 1988 hit Dirty Diana. Because of the title alone, Some people assumed it must have been about Diana Ross. The theory spread quickly and is still repeated on social media today. However, Michael Jackson himself publicly denied that interpretation. He explained that the song was about groupies women who followed famous musicians while they were on tour, not about Diana Ross or any specific woman in his life. Even so, the rumor refused to disappear because it fit the emotional story many people wanted to believe. This is an important reminder that popular stories are not always supported by evidence. At the same time, Michael continued to show respect for Diana in ways that were clearly documented. When he prepared his last will and testament in 2002, he named Diana Ross as the person who should care for his children if his mother, Katherine Jackson, was unable to do so. That decision surprised many people because Michael had a large family, yet he still placed enormous trust in Diana. While she never became the guardian because Katherine remained able to care for the children, Michael's decision revealed how highly he valued Diana's judgment and character. For many observers, this was one of the strongest pieces of evidence that their relationship, whatever name people choose to give it, was built on deep trust and lasting respect. It also showed that after decades of fame, success, and personal struggles, Michael still believed Diana Ross was someone who would always protect the people he loved the most. Michael Jackson passed away on June 25, 2009, leaving behind not only an extraordinary musical legacy but also millions of unanswered questions about his personal life. Around the world, fans mourned the loss of an artist whose influence reached every corner of popular culture. During the years that followed, Diana Ross continued to honor Michael with quiet respect rather than dramatic public statements. Because Michael had named her as a backup guardian for his children in his 2002 will, many people once again began discussing the special place she held in his life. Although Katherine Jackson remained the children's primary guardian, Michael's decision showed the incredible level of trust he had in Diana. Then, in 2019, the documentary Leaving Neverland sparked another global debate about Michael's legacy. As opinions became deeply divided, many celebrities chose not to comment. Diana Ross, however, shared a short message on social media that immediately attracted worldwide attention. She wrote that she believed Michael Jackson was a magnificent, incredible force and ended her statement with the famous words, "Stop in the name of love," the title of one of the Supreme's biggest hits. Her message was simple, but many fans saw it as a public show of loyalty to someone she had known for most of her life. Over the years, Diana has also spoken warmly about Michael in interviews, remembering him as a gentle, caring, and deeply gifted person. She has described him as someone who inspired others with his creativity and kindness. These comments were not dramatic confessions or shocking revelations. Instead, they reflected the affection and respect she had expressed for decades. That is perhaps why they carried so much weight. Rather than focusing on rumors or sensational stories, Diana chose to remember the human being behind the global superstar. In a world where headlines often celebrate controversy more than compassion, her words reminded many people that personal memories can sometimes reveal more about a relationship than years of gossip ever could. Looking back at their lives, it becomes clear why the story of Michael Jackson and Diana Ross continues to capture people's imagination. They represented two different generations of musical greatness, yet their journeys crossed at exactly the right moment. Diana had already reached international success when Michael was just beginning his career. She understood the excitement of fame, but she also understood its cost. Michael often spoke about how lonely success could become, especially when it started during childhood. In many ways, Diana was one of the few people who truly understood those pressures because she had experienced similar challenges herself. Over the decades, they appeared together at award shows, concerts, and special events, always treating each other with warmth and respect. Fans naturally wondered if there was more to their relationship than friendship, but much of what has been written about them remains impossible to prove. Stories about secret engagements, hidden romances, or private promises continue to circulate online, yet reliable evidence for many of those claims has never been presented. What history does confirm is already remarkable enough. Diana encouraged Michael during his early years, worked alongside him in the wheeze, remained someone he admired throughout his life, and earned such deep trust that he included her in one of the most important legal documents he ever signed. Those facts alone tell an extraordinary story. Sometimes real life does not need dramatic inventions to become meaningful. The genuine bond between two legendary artists can be just as powerful as any rumor. Their relationship reminds us that not every important connection fits neatly into a simple label. Some friendships become lifelong sources of strength, inspiration, and comfort without ever needing to be explained to the outside world. Today, As Diana Ross continues to celebrate her incredible career well into her 80s, fans still look back on her connection with Michael Jackson with curiosity and admiration. New generations continue discovering both artists through streaming services, documentaries, and classic performances that have stood the test of time. Their music remains timeless because it speaks to emotions that every generation understands: hope, love, loneliness, determination, and the desire to be remembered. Whether Michael's feelings for Diana were those of a devoted friend, a lifelong admirer, or something deeper is a question that may never receive a complete answer. Only the two of them truly knew the full story, and Michael is no longer here to share his side. What remains is a collection of public moments, personal memories, interviews, and documented facts that paint the picture of a relationship built on mutual respect and lasting affection. Sometimes the most meaningful stories are not the ones with dramatic endings but the ones that quietly continue through memory. Michael Jackson changed the world through his music, and Diana Ross helped inspire generations of performers long before and long after he became the king of pop. Together, they created a connection that has fascinated fans for more than 50 years, not because every rumor is true, but because the truth itself is already remarkable. Perhaps the greatest lesson from their story is that genuine kindness, trust, and encouragement can leave a mark that lasts a lifetime. Long after the concerts end and the headlines fade away, those human connections become the part of history that people remember most. And that may be the real truth behind the enduring story of Michael Jackson and Diana Ross, a story not defined by mystery alone, but by respect, gratitude, and a bond that continues to inspire music lovers around the world. Thanks for watching.